obviously, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. It has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to do with money. One, two. I think Manny Pacquiao, his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. He didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch.
What are your thoughts on the fight and just Pacquiao coming out of retirement?
Well, look, Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios a great fight for Barrios because he's a champion, and I think Pacquiao, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, getting another title opportunity, just the name obviously, but I really believe that Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. I don't want.
While some boxing professionals are choosing experience and pure boxing skills in Manny Pacquiao, others are choosing youth and agility in Mario Barrios. Well, let's hear them out. Boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard tells TMZ Sports that he's firmly in Pacquiao's corner.
What kind of challenges you think he's going to face, and any advice on him doing things a certain way that maybe you found you did a mistake or this and that, give or take?
You know what? When I came back that one horrible time, it was all me. It was my mindset. It was the way I felt like I believe I could win. I trained hard, but you know what? I won't do it again. You know what I mean? I won't do it again.
Some folks are worried about Pac-Man heading into this fight for two reasons. The age gap: Barrios is 30, Pacquiao is 46, and his extended time away from the sport while serving as the senator of the Philippines. Sugar Ray Leonard, widely regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time, tells us none of the concerns matter, because Pacquiao can and will do what he wants, and he's all for it. There's not one thing that will really make people understand why we do what we do, Sugar said. But you know what? God bless, stay healthy, and take care. Keep in mind this is coming from Sugar, who himself unretired to fight in his 40s after a 6-year hiatus.
But I can't tell someone don't do that. Because I made too many comebacks.
As for Manny, just any advice for him at all?
Just be healthy and do what you think you can do. It's a hard thing to answer.
Take that away from somebody. It's kind of taking it away from somebody. You kind of got to find out what's there, right?
Absolutely.
I've made more comebacks than everybody, Sugar said. I hold the record, undisputed. Amir Khan, who had been linked to fighting with Pacquiao during his own career, warned the former multi-weight world champion against returning for the Barrios fight. It's a fantastic fight for Mario. He needs that big fight. He'll be paid well and fight a legend like Manny Pacquiao. Who would say no to that? Khan told Sky Sports. Mario deserves this fight because every fighter wants that big payday. It will be fantastic for him.
And Manny got in touch with me as well. Manny was like, shall we do a fight? He's quite serious about it. He was like, shall we make a fight happen? I go, listen, if you can get a funder, if you can get someone like a Turkey Yellow Sheikh on board, then why not?
There's no, that must be able to be made that.
Yeah.
Surely.
You do that for the right money, right?
Massive. Look, we've had our best days, and I think a fight like that would definitely sell. Manny having a massive Philippine.
He noted of Barrios. When me and Virgil Hunter were training together, I used to spar with him quite a lot. He's a very good boxer. I don't know how much Manny's got left in him. If they were in their prime, in their peak, then I'd say all day Manny Pacquiao. But this could be a tricky fight for Pacquiao. Khan added, at the end of the day, he's been out of the ring for a long time, and has he still got the fire in his belly? Barrios, I'm sure he's going to come in wanting to win this fight because it can change his life. For Pacquiao, at his age, against a world champion who's only 29, it's a risky option. A long layoff, and at the same time, you're always that one punch away from getting hurt. I'm sure he's got a great career ahead of him in politics, Khan said.
Manny having a massive Philippine, fan base, and all around the world really. And then obviously myself, I've got a decent fan base as well. So I think it will definitely sell, and people would like to see, when people make comebacks. I mean, people always like to see them, see how the fight's going to be. And me and Manny are probably in the same position. We'd be both being retired for like 3-4 years. I think it will make a good fight.
And you're only 38 as well, man. So we've seen boxers older than that getting back into the ring.
He doesn't need to come back, but sometimes you do miss the sport. Manny might miss not having that recognition, that love he used to get being a fighter. But I'm sure people will turn up to watch him. I think it will be a fantastic fight, but if I was to advise Manny, I wouldn't say to come back. You should come back to someone that's already retired, someone like myself, for example, because then it's an even fight. But when you look at a young fighter who's still a fighter, who's still boxing, who's active, sometimes it's dangerous. Highlighting Barrios' talent and hunger, he added, "Barrios, I'm sure he's going to come in wanting to win this fight because it can change his life." While acknowledging the appeal of such a bout, Khan urged caution. You're always that one punch away from getting hurt. He advised Pacquiao to choose a safer option.
I mean, he's still at a good age where you certainly could box again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at George Foreman, the late George Foreman. He was a great champion, and he came back. I think he must have been in his late 40s when he come back and won a world title as well. So look, in boxing, it's always that one punch. And at the same time, though, guys, is that I look back and think, do I need to get back in the ring again?
That said, different people seem to have different opinions on Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring. While Baumgardner is confident the 46-year-old could beat a 29-year-old Barrios, Khan has given wind to caution. What are your thoughts on the matter? Speaking in a media scrum, Crawford was asked to share his thoughts on the rumors that the Filipino legend is set to lace the gloves up once again after a 4-year hiatus. I don't know. We shall see. I don't know.
There's a rumor going around this week that Manny Pacquiao is going to return. What do you make of that?
I don't know. We shall see. I don't know.
Do you think he's too old at 46 to fight Barrios?
I can't say if he's too old or not. If he get in there and win, then everybody will be saying different. So I don't put no limit on an all-time great like Manny Pacquiao.
Where does a win against Canelo at?
Bud was then asked if he believes Pacquiao is now too old to face someone like Barrios. I can't say if he's too old or not, If he gets in there and wins, then everybody will be saying differently, so I don't put no limit on an all-time great like Manny Pacquiao. Hearn's Matchroom Boxing currently promotes Ennis, the Unified International Boxing Federation and World Boxing Association welterweight title holder, and is having problems securing a unification with World Boxing Organization title holder Brian Norman Jr.
He's probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting a title fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit differently to others. And with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots, and Barrios is not Crawford. And that's why, we pushed the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn, his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden. So actually Pacquiao is a step up, and people are still complaining.
A reputable news source asked Hearn if he would try to make a unification between Pacquiao and Ennis should the 46-year-old Pacquiao defy Father Time and defeat Barrios. I mean, 1, he won't beat Barrios, Hearn said, and 2, I'm not going to stand here with my righteous hat on and say it's an absolute disgrace that Pacquiao's fighting, but I just can't believe you can just literally disappear from boxing for 5 years, be 46 years old, and be, I think shot is disrespectful, but by no means a fighter you were, and just phone up the governing body and go, stick me in at number 5, mate. It's like at least put him in at 14. Do you know what I mean? Why would you put him at 5? Why would you put him in at all?
Manny Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, it definitely has to do with money, 1. 2, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. He didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch.
Hearn is not only doubtful over the ring-worn Pacquiao's chances against a younger, fresher man, but has also learned from previously trying to make a fight involving Pac-Man. 3 years ago, I think it was, Manny Pacquiao approached us about fighting Conor Benn, right? Hearn said. Ben's best win was probably Chris Algieri at the time, so it wasn't for a world title. We haven't really beaten an elite world-class fighter, and I mentioned that we were looking to do it. I think 2 years ago, they had a face-off. I got absolutely ridiculed. You're a disgrace for letting Pacquiao fight. He was 44 years old, but he's now 46, and he's fighting for a world title. It's the game.
Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits.
A win over Barrios will see Pacquiao break his own record for welterweight and will become the second oldest boxer to win a title at any weight. Bernard Hopkins holds the latter mark when he defeated then IBF light heavyweight titleist Tavoris Cloud at age 48 in 2013. Hopkins also further unified the 175-pound titles at age 49 when he dethroned WBA title holder Bout Shumenov in 2014. WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman gave the bout his blessing while attending the Saul Canelo Alvarez-Williams Skull event in Saudi Arabia at the weekend, describing it as a great fight. The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas has been lined up as a venue, but Pacquiao wants to wait until after the coming elections in his homeland before making a final decision and announcing his plans. The 46-year-old, who has not fought since defeat to Yordenis Ugas in August 2021, is in a tight race for a seat in the Senate of the Philippines, with voters going to the polls on May 12th. Manny feels good, and that he still has it in him to compete at that level. He feels he can still fight 2 or 3 more times this year, next year, and maybe even 2027, a source close to Pacquiao told The National.
Can Pacquiao, already the oldest fighter to ever hold a welterweight title, defy the odds and break his own record by reclaiming championship glory? With a professional record standing at 62 wins, 8 losses, and 2 draws, including 39 victories by knockout, Pacquiao is taking what may very well be his final gamble in a career defined by bold risks and historic triumphs.
It is understood Pacquiao is already in training and is not fazed by the short turnaround between the elections and a potential July 19th bout. He insists he needs only a 30-day camp and sparring to be ready and would travel to the US and reunite with longtime trainer Freddie Roach at the Wildcard Gym in Los Angeles. A bout against Barrios has been discussed for some time, and Pacquiao had been keen to bring it to the UAE. He considers Dubai his second home, possesses a golden visa, and held talks with Abu Dhabi Sports Council about staging the Barrios fight in the UAE capital.
Meanwhile, Barrios, age 29, enters the fight with a record of 29 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, with 18 of those victories coming by knockout. As the countdown to July begins, fans worldwide prepare to witness a captivating cross-generational battle. An aging legend chasing one last piece of history against a champion determined to make his own mark.
Last November, he put on a show for thousands of fans at Global Village before returning to take in the New Year celebrations at Burj Khalifa. He has numerous business dealings in the UAE and plans to open both a boxing museum and academy in Dubai. We are working right now. Probably after this week, we can finalize everything for the fight here in Abu Dhabi, Pacquiao told The National in January. We are still negotiating. We were planning to fight in the United States in July, but why not here? Bring Barrios here. It's going to be the 3rd week of July in Abu Dhabi for a world championship. We have had talks with his promoter. As Pacquiao revealed then, the fight is indeed slated for the 3rd week of July, but the venue will be in Las Vegas, with the PBC eager to stage the event stateside.
Talks of maybe Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement, fighting Mario Barrios. Do you like that fight? And if so, how do you see that fight going?
Look, Manny Pacquiao is a different animal. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady come out of retirement all the time, and he does what he does. This Manny Pacquiao. Yes, do you worry about him? He's facing a young gun, a guy that's fighting at the best of his ability right now. And Barrios, yeah, you worry about that. Barrios is a really good boxer, strong.
Should he return to the ring for the first time since 2021, then it would take his record-breaking career into a 30th year, having debuted aged 16 back in 1995. Pacquiao is the holder of several world records, including being the only boxer to lift a world title in 4 different decades. He previously served as a senator of the Philippines from 2016 to 2022. After this shock news broke earlier on in the week, former undisputed welterweight champion Terrence Crawford has had his say on the sensational return to boxing for Pac-Man.
Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. That Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao.
At the age of 46, Manny Pacquiao is trying to defy odds by returning to the boxing ring as he announced, "I'm back," with a high-stakes clash against World Boxing Council welterweight champion Mario Barrios on July 19, 2025. The Filipino legend, who retired in 2021 after a loss against Yordenis Ugas, seemed to have closed the final chapter on his illustrious and legendary boxing career. With a professional record of 62 and 8-2, including 39 knockouts, Pacquiao's prime seemed to have left him behind at the time, as the welterweight division looked stacked with talent at the top, which looked out of his reach. Yet, his decision to unretire for this fight against a younger fighter, who is currently in his prime, has sparked a lot of debate between fans and analysts.
That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again. But again, what they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power.
Meanwhile, Mario Barrios is just 30 years old and is more than a decade younger, who holds a record of 29-2-1 with 18 knockouts under his belt. The former 2-division champ initially kept a unification bout with Jaron Ennis as an option, but he opted for the financially lucrative matchup against Pacquiao. In 2024, Barrios didn't exactly have the year he was hoping for, as he fought Fabian Maidana, a tough fight, but Barrios came up with a win, and a split decision draw against Abel Ramos, who's a faded fighter but pushed him to the limits. Despite the struggles, Barrios will be a tough matchup and a formidable champion, which makes this move by Pacquiao even more risky for the 46-year-old, with many labeling it as a suicide mission.
Left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. But that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I actually think he can beat Barrios. Like, maybe it's recency bias. I saw that fight. That Barrios Fabian Maidana fight that was on the Canelo undercard.
Yeah,
I wasn't all that impressed with Barrios there.
Really?
I think when he gets hit, his face swells up pretty quickly, and I think Pacquiao's gonna hit him in the face. I mean, Maidana didn't hit him.
Boxing promoter and former champion Oscar De La Hoya is quite firmly in Pacquiao's corner and has expressed a strong belief in the veteran's ability to upset Barrios. When he spoke to reporters, De La Hoya said, "Absolutely," when he was asked about whether Pacquiao would win. He added, "Manny Pacquiao's a legend. I think he can do it. Call it faith or the truth, but it seems like De La Hoya is optimistic about Pacquiao's chances in the upcoming fight. However, Pacquiao is a legend who has won multiple titles and has all the experience in the world. However, De La Hoya is not somebody who underestimates Barrios. As he also said, it's not going to be easy."
I wish him all the best.
Cuadra, I love him.
Can he do it?
Cuadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's a...
While Barrios' recent performances may have fooled many, De La Hoya respects his ability as he is the current champion for a reason. He wishes the best for Pacquiao, and the bout will surely be a defining moment, which will test Pacquiao's experience and if he can overcome Barrios' youth and devastating power. Pacquiao and Algieri fought back in 2014, with the former earning a unanimous decision win. Algieri pointed out that Pacquiao has had 72 professional fights, meaning there has been a lot of wear and tear on his body.
Oscar needs...
He's a legend, you know.
Some nice ones, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it.
He pointed out that speed, agility, and explosiveness were among Pacquiao's main weapons, traits that a fighter loses the fastest. Writing for Boxing Scene, Algieri pointed out, "The reality is also that Pacquiao is 46 years old, has had 72 fights, and has fought 498 rounds. That's a lot of training camps, a lot of weight making, and a lot of wear and tear. He was also an aggressive fighter who at his best took risks and relied on his explosiveness and intensity, abilities that are among the first to go. He thinks that the opening rounds will signal whether Pacquiao can still compete against someone like Barrios."
It's sad because he's gonna make a lot of money, so we can't feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for, I'm just 4 years older, 3-4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to think you're gonna get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were when you were in 20s and 30s.
You think it's impossible for him to beat Mario Barrios right now?
Well, it's not impossible because he has power. He should have that power.
"I suspect we'll see in the opening rounds at Las Vegas's MGM Grand if he's capable of being competitive. He could well look like an old man straight away." He continued, "But Pacquiao was a truly special fighter. He's also the best I ever fought. And while the odds may be stacked against him, I'm convinced he can win. And that makes him fighting Barrios very intriguing."
Barrios is big and a strong boy, so I don't see that happening. But is it possible? Anything's possible. George Foreman did it. There's been others that do it. But I really don't see it happening.
But Pacquiao's speed's the name of his game. Do you think he doesn't have that? There's no way he doesn't have the same speed as before.
There's no way, bro. You guys, I don't know if you guys seen his last performance.
The exhibition against that big guy.
It was actually embarrassing to see that shit. You know, so it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good.
He further pointed out that Manny Pacquiao has had success fighting taller opponents throughout his career. Algieri is giving Pacman a fighting chance to pull off the upset against Mario Barrios on July 19th. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.